everybody, and welcome to Bios3 Raw TV. This is a reply video to Jason Blahau's ketogenic diet video and what he thought about it. And Jason and I don't always see eye to eye on everything, and that's okay. I just want to touch on a few things, because Jason is very biased according to scientific literature, okay? He's not the type of guy that says, well, science says this, but I've seen otherwise, so I don't really know. He will go with the literature, and that's his thing. And I just want to point out that, he said that studies have shown that you do not lose 1 iota more of fat than you would on a regular high-carb diet. And he said, the reason why there's muscle sparing is because the protein is higher. Actually, if you do the ketogenic diet right, you're eating less protein than you would in a high-carb diet. The protein's less. If you have too much protein, you actually convert that extra protein into glucose, and it keeps you out of ketosis. So done right, no, you don't have more protein to spare the muscle tissue. What you have is a more readily available source of fuel in the form of ketones that never runs out. And that's what makes it supposedly muscle sparing. That and the fact that your growth hormone's through the roof all the time, you're never having huge insulin spikes, that was what's supposed to make you spare muscle tissue. Now, is it true? I don't know. But those are facts that, based on those two facts, you have lower protein and your growth hormone is supposed to be higher and you still retain more muscle, as long as your calories are where they need to be. I'd say that there's something more to that than just having a higher protein diet. There's another thing that he talked about, saying that, you're not going to be healthy. Well, my people get blood work done that do keto. What's interesting is, not only do they have no ketones in their blood, but their blood work is perfect. I mean, I'm talking better than fucking people that walk into their higher carb diets. I'm talking about when they measure their thyroid, it's fucking perfect. I'm talking about when they measure their cholesterol, it's perfect. Any of the blood markers are perfect while they're on keto. So how is it unhealthy? There's nothing unhealthy about that. Well, last time I checked, when you feel fucked up, you go to the doctor to get blood work to check and see if something's fucked up. Now, if you go to get blood work and everything is fine, are you still supposed to be into the guise that it's unhealthy? That doesn't make any sense at all. It boggles my mind how people are like, unhealthy. I'm like, motherfucker, you've had high cholesterol and a high carb diet for how long? Why don't you try the keto diet and see what happens? I'm not advocating keto for everybody. I'm not Mr. Keto Guy, but I'm also not scared of it. And I think one of the other points he made was he would never suggest it unless it was for an ailment. Like, you had some kind of issue health-wise, and the ketogenic diet very well could help that ailment. Now, he also went on to say that doctors have had their licenses revoked in America for recommending that diet. Here's what I find interesting. Doctors have had their licenses revoked for suggesting a diet, but got a slap on the wrist for prescribing thousands of painkillers to people that didn't need it. Doctors have gotten slaps on the wrist for prescribing a diet. Have gotten their licenses revoked for prescribing a diet with ketones, except they pump so much radiation and chemotherapy through people based on, you have this type of cancer, you need this dose. No, it should go by the individual as how much dose they should give you of that shit. When they gave my dad the dosages of chemotherapy and radiation, it almost fucking killed him within a week. Okay, even the doctor was like, wow, people don't respond like this. Well, he is. Why the fuck did you give him so much? And then in the end, when all was said and done, they were like, yeah, well, in the beginning, we probably gave him too much because he probably didn't need that much. Well, why the fuck did you give it to him? Wow, that's just the type of cancer he has. He's a 240-pound fucking man, okay? So even if you went by the weight, did you ever stop to think about maybe his tolerance to drugs is different than someone else? My dad's the type of person, if he takes one fucking Advil for a migraine, it'll last for fucking 4 days. He doesn't need a lot of medication. They put a fentanyl patch on him, which is for the pain from the cancer treatments, which is supposed to last for days. They put the patch on it, and before it's supposed to kick in like 24 hours fully, in 20 minutes it kicked in to the point he was so high his eyes were rolling into his head. My mom called the doctor and said, this is what's happening. He's like, that shouldn't be happening. That's not how that works. Well, guess what? It fucked him so bad he thought he was fucking dying because he was so high. So they don't even go by the individual. They could have fucking killed him with a fentanyl patch, killed him with fucking radiation, killed him with killed him with chemo, but don't put him on a ketogenic diet. That's bad for him. They let doctors go out there and do all that shit to people, not even bat an eyelash. But if you want to put somebody on a fucking diet, they're going to revoke your license. I don't know what the fucking big bullshit is. I don't know what the problem is, but I do know this. If you take someone, and all these studies that, Jason likes to cite, they're not bodybuilders. They're not people training hard for long periods of time. Put somebody on a ketogenic diet for a year, doing 2 hours of cardio a day, and let's track what happens between them and the person who does the moderate to high carb diet. Let's do that for a year. Let's track them. Let's watch their blood work, all that stuff, training hard. Let's see what happens. I guarantee you there would be a whole new thing of fucking scientific evidence that, oh my god, this works great for this, as opposed to, nope, we took a bunch of fucking jackoffs, put them in a fucking room for 10 weeks, they got all fucked up. Well, how do you know everything was fucking followed the way you were supposed to? There's always different things in the studies that get fucked up, but They're not hard training athletes. They're the average person. Maybe they were sneaking a little bit of carbs while they were on the ketogenic diet. You sneak that little bit of carbs and you have that glucose, your cholesterol and blood fats go up. So how the fuck do you know? You don't. All I know is I've seen time and time again, and technically if I recorded all this, I could make it a study, that my people, when they go in on ketogenic diets, into the doctor, get blood work done, their blood work is stellar. Even the doctors are like, I don't understand this. I don't fucking get this. It just doesn't make any sense. Yes, it does. That makes absolute fucking sense. And what's interesting is the science behind the actual ketogenic diet doesn't match the studies, but they disregard the science and go with the studies. That makes no sense to me. I had an ex-girlfriend's aunt, I don't know if I told this story before, who had high triglycerides, high cholesterol. She was fucked. I mean, completely fucked. The doctor was like, look, you got like 2 years left to live if you don't change this around. Gave her a diet. It was a low sodium diet, moderate to high carbohydrates, very low fat diet. Had her walking every day, had to get her moving, get her exercising. She was on like 5 different medications for that issue. 5. She honestly said, fuck, I only got a couple of years left. Sat down with her and I was like, look, this is radical and it fucking goes against everything you're going to be told in the doctor, but here's the deal. And I explained to her how the ketogenic diet worked. I explained to her the certain fats that she could take in. I explained to her how it would work in general. She took it to the doctor. The doctor's like, you're going to die if you do this. Within a month, you're going to be fucked. Like, you can't do this. I highly recommend you don't do this. I'm not going to be any part of it. So she's like, okay. Now, like the 5 medications she was on. So now the doctor thinks that she switched to his new program, his high-carb diet, his walking. Was she walking? Yes. She was walking before, too, but it doesn't matter. Put her on the ketogenic diet. She was eating stuff like bacon, sausage, whole eggs, salami, like the most random shit that, you know, was essentially something like an Atkins diet for her. Removed all the sugar and carbohydrates out of her diet. Lo and behold, those cholesterol and triglycerides started to go down, and she actually started to lose weight. And it wasn't water weight. At first, it was water weight, but it wasn't water weight after the initial 1 or 2 weeks. She goes in, the doctor's like, hey, the diet's working. And she was like, it is? Because now, mind you, she's not following what the doctor told her to do. She's following what I told her to do. Took her off 2 of the medications. Continued to improve. Took her off 1 more. So now she's only on 2 meds that were left for the high cholesterol and the triglycerides and stuff. Tells the doctor, this is after about 5 months, okay, because this was her 6-month checkup. After about 5 months, she tells him, I'm doing the ketogenic diet. I feel great. My blood work is getting better. I'm not on the medications, which makes me feel even better. I'm really happy. And he was like, you have to stop. You have to stop right now. You're going to die. I can't believe you're doing this. Like, your health is in jeopardy, and you're going to leave your kids, and your husband's going to be a widow. And she's like, but everything's getting better. He's like, well, that's only temporary. She's like, but what you gave me didn't work at all. What I was doing with you was I was getting worse. This is going back in the opposite direction. I'm getting better, but you want me to stop. So under the doctor's care, she went back, and lo and behold, a few months later, she's all fucked up again. Now, at that point, me and my girlfriend had split, so I don't know what happened after that, but I hope to God she pulled her head out of her ass and realized, you know what, the doctor was wrong. The doctor was going by these studies and not the actual science behind how it works. And I think that, you know, a lot of doctors, you know, they may walk around with their lab coats and look all scientific, but not a lot of them are really scientific. They cherry pick things here and there to get, you know, what they want, their point across, what they're saying. But if you ask the doctor, like, hey, if you pull all the carbohydrates out, your body had to make ketones, wouldn't it take a lot of that cholesterol and all those triglycerides and stuff and break them down into ketones and use them? And they'd be like, no. I'm like, well, where the fuck do they go then? How do they get out of the body? How is that stuff broken down? I don't understand. Where does it go? And it's very hard and complicated. Okay, explain it to me. And they won't. They will not explain it to you. They won't talk to you about it. They'll just point to the fact that studies don't mean shit when the actual science conflicts with the fucking studies. Studies can be fucked up and they can get anything they want out of it. And depending on who it's being studied, that's another thing. So like I said, this is not a knock on Jason, and I'm stating the actual fucking facts time and time again, not studies that are done on who the fuck knows where, who the fuck knows how and who. That, you know, plain and simple. If you want to try the ketogenic diet, fucking do it. If you want to try the high carb diet, fucking do it. If you want to do carbs, like, fucking do it. The bottom line is you're responsible for what you need to do. But just because someone says something, don't take my fucking word for it. Listen to everything I said and go and fucking look it up. Look up the actual science behind how the ketones work. Look up the actual science about how the body breaks down body fat and uses it. Look up the actual science behind everything I'm talking about. Not studies. Don't forget about studies. Go into the biology book. Go into the biochemistry book. Look it up. See how it works. Biotraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biotraining.com is a blog and where it's the keto is not dangerous bicep when you do it the right way, but anything's dangerous if you fuck it up, and we're out.